Ihoma knew something was wrong when her stepfather Okinwa started acting unusually nice. It wasn't in his nature. He had been cold and distant for most of her life since her mother passed away 5 years ago. But lately, his tone had softened and his once narrowed eyes now gleamed with an unsettling warmth whenever he looked at her. She had been too caught up in her small boutique in Onitsha market to probe her father. But that night, her gut told her to stay vigilant. The clock struck 9 and the dinner table was laid with dishes. Okenwa had hired a local cook to prepare a feast, but Ihoma could barely touch her food. Something in the air felt off. She watched as her stepfather downed his glass of palm wine with gusto, his wide grin never wavering. She glanced at her stepbrother Chidi, who was unusually quiet. His eyes darted between Ihoma and his father. A look of discomfort etched on his young face. Ihoma, Okenwa said, breaking the heavy silence. You know you are like a daughter to me. Am I? Ihoma raised an eyebrow, her voice laced with skepticism. She'd heard those words too many times, usually before he demanded something. Yes, of course, he insisted, his smile too wide with his teeth bared too brightly. That's why I've arranged something wonderful for you. Ihoma's heart pounded in her chest. She put down her fork, feeling a tightening in her stomach. What is it this time, Papa Okenwa? Okenwa leaned forward, his eyes glittering with excitement. I've arranged a meeting for you with Chief Ekulobia. He's a powerful man, very wealthy, a good match for a beautiful girl like you. Ihoma felt a chill run down her spine. Chief Ekulobia was notorious in Anambra for his cruel reputation and numerous wives, most of whom mysteriously disappeared. No, she said firmly. I don't want to meet him. Don't be foolish, girl, Okenwa snapped, his smile vanishing. Do you know what this could mean for our family? For you? For you, you mean? Ihoma shot back, her voice sharp. She had never been one to mince words. I know what kind of man Chief Ekulobia is, and I want no part of it. Okenwa's face darkened, but before he could retort, Chidi, who had been silent until now, spoke up, his voice trembling. Papa, maybe we should let her decide. It's her life. Shut up, boy! Okenwa's hand came down on the table with a loud thud, causing the place to clatter. I have already decided. Tonight, she will go to him. He is staying at Moke the hotel. The arrangement is set. Yoma's eyes widened, her breath quickened as the realization hit her. What have you done, Okenwa? But Okenwa merely smirked, leaning back in his chair, satisfied with himself. You will thank me later, Ihoma. Now, drink up. He nodded towards her untouched glass of palm wine. A cold fear gripped her heart as she realized his plan. He was going to drug her and send her off like a cattle to be sold. She had to act fast, but as she pushed back her chair, intending to make a run for it, Chidi's eyes met hers, pleading, desperate. He nodded almost imperceptibly toward the wine. Please, Ihoma, he whispered, his voice barely audible. Trust me. There was something in his tone, a silent plea she couldn't ignore. She lifted the glass to her lips, pretending to drink, while she discreetly poured most of it down her dress, allowing a few drops to wet her lips. The bitter tang was just enough to convince Okenwa, who watched her with a hawk's gaze. Good girl, he cooed, satisfied. Now, rest for a while. You'll need your strength tonight. Ihoma nodded, feigning weariness, as she allowed her eyes to flutter shut. She felt Chidi's hand slip under the table, squeezing hers. Moments later, darkness began to close in, but not from the sedative, just her own exhaustion and fear. She could hear Okenwa's voice growing fainter. Take her to the car, Chidi. She felt herself being lifted. Chidi's arms supporting her weight. She willed herself to stay conscious, her mind swirling with patience and dread. What did Chidi have planned? The cold night air hit her like a slap as she was led through a side entrance of the Mukede hotel. Chidi's arms around her shoulder was firm but gentle. Her eyelids fluttered open as she could see him whispering to a bellboy, who nodded and led them towards an elevator. The lobby was dimly lit, but she could make out the rich marble floors and ornate chandeliers that Chief Ekulobia's type favored. "Stay awake," Chidi murmured as the elevator door slid shut. "I'm taking you to a different room. Just keep quiet." Ihuoma's mind raced, but she nodded weakly, her steps dragging. The elevator dinged, and they exited on the third floor. Chidi guided her down the hall to room 312 and quickly unlocked the door. Inside the room was dark, except for the dim glow of the city light filtering through the curtains. "You'll be safe here for now," he whispered. "I'll come back for you once I know Papa's plan had failed." Ihuoma squeezed his hand in gratitude, but before she could utter a word, Chidi slipped out, leaving her alone. She stumbled toward the bathroom, desperately needing water to clear her foggy mind. She turned on the tap, splashing cold water on her face, and gulped it down from her cupped hands. Her head felt a bit clearer, but she knew she had to remain alert. Just as she turned to leave the bathroom, she heard a soft groan from behind her. Her breath hitched, and she froze. She wasn't alone. The dim light illuminated a figure sprawled across the king-size bed. A young man, his shirt half open, lay there, clearly intoxicated. She recognized him instantly. Obioma Ojukwu, the infamous heir to Ojukwu Motors, known for his wild lifestyle and endless scandals. What was he doing here? And why had Shidi brought her to this room? Before she could react, Obioma stared, his eyes fluttering open. Who are you? He slurred, his voice thick with drink. Ihoma backed away, her heart pounding in her chest. I'm nobody, just living." Obioma's eyes widened, his senses slowly returning. "No, wait, I know you. You are Ihoma, right? From Onitsha Market." Her breath caught. "How do you know my name?" He chuckled softly, his head still heavy. "You sold me a scarf once, blue with flowers. My sister loved it. She said it was her favorite." Despite herself, Ihoma remembered. He had visited her store once, his air of arrogance unmistakable even in the bustling market. She had dismissed him then as just another rich kid looking for attention. Now here he was, sprawled out before her, vulnerable and far from his usual self. "Why are you here, Ihoma?" he asked, trying to sit up, his gaze sharpening. Ihoma hesitated, unsure if she could trust him. "It's a long story, but I think I'm in danger, and I don't know who to trust." He nodded slowly, his expression serious. "I know that feeling well. Look, whatever it is, you're safe here for now. Just don't go out there." Ihoma glanced back at the door, the weight of his words settling in. She didn't have much of a choice. She sat on the edge of the bed, her hands trembling. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Obioma leaned back against the pillow, his eyes studying her. "Don't thank me yet. I'm not exactly a saint, you know, but maybe tonight we can help each other." A silence settled between them, charged with uncertainty and unspoken fears. Ihoma could feel his gaze on her, measuring, assessing. She had to stay sharp. She couldn't afford another mistake. "So what's the plan?" she asked, her voice firmer than she felt. He chuckled softly, the hint of a smile tugged at his lips. "We survived the night, Ihoma. We survived the night." Hours passed, and Ihoma found herself growing more comfortable in Obioma's presence. Despite his reputation, he had a calmness about him tonight, a stark contrast to the rumors of his wild behavior. He offered her water and even a snack from the minibar, and they exchanged stories to pass the time. She learned about his estranged relationship with his father, his struggles to find his own path outside of the family business, and his regrets. "I'm not the spoiled brat everyone thinks I am," he said quietly, his eyes distant. I've made mistakes, big ones." Ihoma nodded, understanding more than he realized. She had been judged unfairly too, especially after her mother's death, when Okenwa took over her life and choices. She was tired of being trapped by other people's decisions. So began a relationship that blossomed for a lifetime, producing heirs and a warm home.